Hi everyone and welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you to all our new subscribers. Yes, we continue to grow and we're very appreciative. Thank you to all those that are watching our content. I do not take you guys for granted. Anyways, uh, welcome back. It's been a wonderful week of action, both in leagues and then of course in the UEFA Champions League, not to mention that the UEFA Europa League does get underway this Thursday. But anyway, today I want us to speak all matters Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool did play their game in hand against Everton in that thrilling 2-2 draw in the Merseyside Derby. Now, we all know what the result was. Of course, thanks to Beto, who opened the scoring for Everton, Alexis McAllister restoring parity, and then against the run of play, Mo Salah scoring to make it 2-1. And then in the dying embers of the game, James Tarkowski scoring to leave it 2-2 in the final game of the Merseyside Derby at Goodison Park. Now, Everton have been playing at this ground about what, since 1884 or something. So very long history. Next season, they are moving into their new stadium, a 50,000 plus, seater. They needed to add about 10,000 to their, capacity and generate more revenue. And looks like they are achieving that. But I've seen some Liverpool fans, of course, Liverpool fans are not happy with the results. Not that they should be. They wouldn't have wanted a draw because they wanted to go 9 points clear ahead of a second place Arsenal. If I'm Liverpool, I really wouldn't worry about Arsenal, given the extent of their problems with injuries. For those of you that are not aware, Kai Havertz is out for the rest of the season. We did discuss that in yesterday's live session. Go on to the channel and watch that live session. Anyways, that notwithstanding, they would have still wanted all maximum points, and they thought they had the maximum points in the bag. But unfortunately, James Tarkowski conjured up, something to restore parity for the Toffees. The game ended in total chaos. I've seen Liverpool fans up in arms because that goal I think doesn't come until beyond the 97th minute, and yet the added time by referee Michael Oliver had been only 5 minutes. Now, it's only honest that Liverpool fans do complain about that, because if it were any other club fans, I think they would also have the same say, or they would complain the same. However, that does not negate the fact that the rules permit the referee to add as much time as he wants. What do the rules say? The rules say that any added time, and I'm not quoting directly, but any added time that's after the 90 minutes is a minimum. It's not the maximum. Unfortunately for us as football fans, we often take that as the maximum time allowed beyond which a game shouldn't go. So when a referee says added time is 5 minutes, it means a minimum of 5 minutes. That means if he stops the game at 93 minutes or even 94, the game would have ended prematurely. I think that's how I would want to interpret it. But if the clock hits 95, that's the minimum of time he's added in. The maximum is at his own discretion. Is at his own discretion. And that's where we fans often get it wrong. When we complain, especially when things do not go our way in those final stages of the game. When a player suffers a red card, maybe that we think if the game had ended earlier, he wouldn't have conceded. When we consider a late winner, a late equalizer, just like it was yesterday for Liverpool. So it's understandable for me that Liverpool fans are complaining, but it does not change the rule. So I wouldn't want to blame Michael Oliver for that in particular. However, I did think that there are decisions that he did take in the game that were left wanting in itself. Okay, for me, that handball by Ibrahim Konate would have been a penalty. Everton players appealed, VAR looked at the incident, but the conclusion was to stay with the on-field decision, for which Michael Oliver had not awarded a penalty. Now, here's why I think it's wrong or it is unjust for me, in my opinion. One, if the roles were reversed, that an Everton player had that ball hit his hand, if let's say we are defining it as a ball to hand, if the ball had hit an Everton player's hand and then they go on to score, in that moment, that goal would have been ruled out because the ball would have hit his hand on the way to score. And yet, when the roles are reversed, like it was when that ball is handled or hits the arm of Ibrahim Konate, whichever way you want to slice it, it is not a penalty. I remember we had this discussion when I think it was Arsenal. Mikel Moreno had scored a winning goal against Aston Villa in that 2-all draw. So he had scored to make it 3-2. But in the build-up leading to that goal, somewhere the ball had hit Kai Havertz's arm. Again, there was no intention by Kai Havertz to handle the ball. It was a ball to hand. And I think all football fans or officials or pundits and everybody that does follow the game would agree to that assertion. But because the rules state that if the ball hits the player's arm in a build-up to a goal, that goal is ruled out. For those of you that do remember, or those of you that do religiously follow us on the Football Tribe UG, thank you very much. You remember we did have that discussion and we did share again our opinions and our disagreements with the ruling itself. Well, it came back to bite because Ibrahim Konate, for me, clearly handles the ball. His arm is in a natural position, or what we would define as a natural position, as per the by the rules of the game, and yet it was not given as a penalty. Liverpool fans on the other side also do have their grievances in decisions that they thought did not go their way, especially when it came to fouls and all that kind of thing, and 50 challenges of the ball. But that notwithstanding, I thought Everton were robbed in that particular moment of the game. For those of you that did follow the game again, Liverpool go on to score through, I think, Mo Salah. It was against the run of play. Everton were dominating affairs. I thought they were really, really good on the night. They were giving, Liverpool so much trouble. They really tried to attack that, Liverpool defense with all the strength they had. Never mind that the result that they eventually got is one that I believe they deserved. I do not think either side deserved to win it. When you look at the full scope of the game, you do not look at them and say this one did that a little extra that would have earned them all 3 points. If I were to slice it, it would have been for Everton. But still, I thought a draw was a deserving result for both sides. But James Tarkowski, the captain there, pulling the heroics to restore parity for Everton. So, do let me know what you thought about the penalty incident of Ibrahim Konate. And then, when James Tarkowski scores that late winner, of course, it was subjected to a VAR check because I think the thought was that Abdoulaye Diakore had been in an offside position in the build-up to that goal. But it turns out he wasn't, as per the decision that we got. And then, full-time whistle goes, the stadium goes into chaos. Just to rewind things a little back, when James Tarkowski scores that goal, and he runs off to celebrate with the fans down in the corner flag, he's joined by Pulo fans. Fans jumped out of the stands and, some even came on the turf and, celebrated that goal. It was more like, it felt like the final game of the season where a team has avoided relegation. It felt like a final game of the season where a team has won the title. For those of you who remember the incidents that we did experience when Man City was beating up against QPR by 3-2, Sergio Kun Aguero scoring that final goal. And then for those of you that have watched the championship playoff games, when they play that final in Wembley, we all know what that means to them. For those of you that did watch Liverpool's game against Plymouth over the weekend when they were knocking out Liverpool by 1-0, that kind of celebration, like the result in itself, the goal in that moment, meant much more to the Everton fans and perhaps to even the players than what it meant on the Premier League table tally. Because, Liverpool themselves wouldn't have been rattled by the celebrations because why? you're already leading the table with a gap of 7 points. Everton are fighting for their lives because they're seated 15th place on the Premier League globe with 27 points. They need at least 13 points in the remaining 14 games for them to survive relegation, which I think they will survive. So I do not think they would have been rattled. But then it was a derby. It is a rivalry match, so you do understand. So anyway, long story short, referee eventually blows the final whistle, and then Abdoulaye Diakore goes on to celebrate. Now, he goes on to celebrate in front of the Liverpool fans. Now, again, these are things typical of a derby. This is the final Merseyside Derby at the Goodison Park. They're going to, celebrate every chance they have to celebrate. Never mind that it was just a draw, which they were celebrating as though it had been a win. Never mind that. It's a derby, final derby in their old stadium. It means a lot to their fans. It means a lot to the players. It means a lot to the manager, that's in David Moyes, who is, by the way, has only lost one game since joining the club. That's in the Premier League. He did lose his first game against Aston Villa in a 1-0 defeat, and since beaten up against teams like Leicester City 4-0, beat up against Tottenham by 3-2, beat up against Brighton and Hove Albion by a goal to nil, and then was sharing the spoils with Liverpool in a 2-all draw. So clearly, there was a lot of emotion in it. So when Abdoulaye Diakore goes to celebrate in front of the Liverpool fans, Curtis Jones runs over to go and stop him to say, please do not disrespect our fans. Of course, he did not use the please word. He ran over to try and, shove him away from that spot. And then, of course, Abdoulaye Diakore reacted. They ended up pulling shirts around the neck, and chaos erupted. Stewards did come on. There were two Everton players that saw the incident and rushed to come and, calm down the situation. It was a bit chaotic that even the stewards intervened and that kind of thing. So the final moments of the derby were chaotic. But again, for the English football fans, for those that are on ground in Merseyside, in Liverpool, in Everton, they do know what that means. I must think, or I'm led to believe that they enjoyed every bit of that moment, especially for the Everton fans. While Liverpool fans do not seem happy or do not welcome the incidences that did happen, I do think that a part of them does understand what all that meant. They do understand where those Everton fans, as much as they may abuse them, what it meant to them. So clearly, I do not think they will dwell on it. So eventually, Michael Oliver ended up dishing out 3 red cards after the blow of the final whistle. The first going to Liverpool manager Arne Slot. Now, of course, the memes on Twitter or X have gone on to say that he handed a red card for a firm handshake with Michael Oliver, but he did say something, possibly. I do not know if it was offensive or anything. Only the referee's report can tell us what he said exactly, but Michael Oliver didn't seem pleased with it, so he pulls out the red card and hands it to Michael Oliver. I do not know if any other members of the Liverpool technical bench were given red cards, but Curtis Jones and Abdoulaye Diakore were both given red cards at the blow of the final, after the blow of the final whistle, because of those chaotic scenes. I do not know whether the FA will take any action against both sides, but Liverpool failed to control their players. We just saw that actions taken against Arsenal in the aftermath of the Wolverhampton Wanderers game. After that red card was lifted off Miles Lewis Kelly, they came back to say Arsenal had failed to control their players. They did surround the referee and that kind of thing. And then we've seen Arsenal get picked on in the aftermath of, thrashing Man City in a 5-1 victory that Lewis Kelly did about Erling Haaland celebration, and then they want to introduce a new rule against mocking and all that kind of thing. Bullload of crap. It's a total lack of things to do. That's the beauty of the game. That's the passion. That's the rivalry. That's how you build the intensity of these rivalries. But that notwithstanding. So, again, we'll wait to see the action of the Premier League and that of the FA, should they feel need to take action on the scenes that did transpire after that. For me, I do think that fans invading the pitch in that goal celebration, that needs to be called out. And then the skirmishes between Curtis Jones and Abdoulaye Diakore, those need to be called out. But overall, I do not think, beyond those two incidents, I do not think that that the FA or the Premier League needs to really dig deep into this, because again, you do not. For me, I feel they shouldn't kill the spirit of the game and all its emotions with all these rules and technicalities and whatsoever. So, anyways, do let me know what your thoughts are on those things, on those incidents, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you next time.